Hey YouTube, hey Albies, welcome into today's video, and today we are reacting to one video that kind of caught my attention for a very good reason. And that reason really is the title. If we look at the title, Steam is forcing devs to optimize their games, and this sounds amazing. Now, I don't know about you guys, but there's been so many games that I've played lately that have been so badly optimized that they have straight up blown up my computer. Like, they are so badly optimized, my computer will immediately go into hyperdrive, the fan goes off the walls, and I get black screened. So having it made so that games have to be optimized properly is a game changer. Steam, we love you. Gabe, you are a legend. I'll leave a link to the original video in the description down below. Make sure to drop a like, and let's get into this.
PC gaming, we got this whole hardware shortage. Everything is unaffordable and terrible.
Yes. Huh? Oh my god! What? You've got to be crazy. A 5080 for 1300. Chat, what the hell? I realized things were expensive. I didn't realize things had got this bad. Oh my god.
And then on the other side, we've got companies that are actually deciding we need to meet players where they are.
Yeah.
People can't afford hardware, aren't upgrading anymore, and we need to optimize games even more, and we need to put systems in place.
Well, here's the thing, right? Everything now is like 100 gig. Again, this might not be related to optimizing, but for games now, especially on some games on Steam, if you go and have a look at the minimum requirements, it's like, okay, you need 16 gig of RAM, you need like a 5080 how can I say, graphics card, you need this, and it's just like, brother, we ain't got the means for this. And then on top of all of that, you need like 110 gig just to install something. Like, for example, Baldur's Gate. I love Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is one of my favorite games. But 110, I think it was, 110 gig for an install? That's insane. That's stupidly large. But then if we go back and we look at games in the past, like the other day, I downloaded a game that was originally released when the Xbox 360 first came out. The PC version of that game was only 2 gig in size, and it still plays beautifully, it's still well optimized, it's a smooth gaming experience. Back in the day, you could fit so much in such a small file size. Game devs don't seem to care about game optimization that much anymore.
To make it incentivize, to make games run better. Like, we used to praise developers for how much crazy tech they could put into a game and still have it run well. But lately, we've been seeing some amazingly optimized games, like Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh my god.
Literally told you to use frame generation in the system requirements just to get 60 FPS in the game. Or Alan Wake 2, where even on mainstream graphics cards that were in the current generation, they couldn't even run the game at 1080p 60 FPS.
That's insane.
Unreal Engine 5 has been a reckoning on games. Silent Hill 2 Remake is the pinnacle of unoptimization. Or, if you want total optimization, then you can go to Borderlands 4, because you're not using enough DLSS at this point. Shout out, Randy. And we all cannot forget High Guard. Is it crazy that game came out and died already this year? But yeah, that game didn't have that much going for it, but at the same time, it was a competitive shooter that was surprisingly very difficult to run on your computer.
Oh my god. You'd think with a 5090 you'd be able to break at least 120 FPS. That's insane. Look, I'm happy with 60 FPS because my computer gets fried by everything in general. So if I can run something consistently at 60 or just a little bit above, that's fine by me. Do I want more? Hell yeah, I'd love more. But still, this is... okay.
This didn't make any sense. Like, you couldn't get high frame rates on moderate hardware. And this leads to some damaging reputations. Like Borderlands 4, I don't think it running so poorly really helped the game.
My god.
Yeah, when you scroll down on Steam, mixed reviews.
Okay, why is it mixed? Why?
Yeah, people were just shitting on this game like crazy.
But why?
Same with Monster Hunter Wilds. People completely left the game for a while because it ran so poorly.
Yo, from May 25 to May 26. I mean, granted, it's a year long, but that's quite a big drop off, my god. But then again, 24-hour peak 18,000, that's still pretty damn good. And okay, right, I take back what I just said. All-time peak 40 months ago, yeah, 1 million players, that's probably this massive peak here. That was when it's just released. Okay, no, that's fair. But you know what, that's not that bad. Genuinely, 18, nearly 19, well, it's 2 away, 19,000 for a 24-hour peak. That's not too bad. That's not too bad.
And they've made some improvements to it. Still not great. People were shitting on this game quite a bit, and it was really because of how poorly it performed. It was a lackluster excuse for optimization. We got a new game that's coming out called Blood of the Dawnwalker. It's
Okay.
actually from
I've never heard of this game, but okay, tell me more.
previous developers of Witcher 3 at CD Projekt Red, and are making this game in Unreal Engine 5.
Okay.
When I hear UE5, I start to shudder a little bit because the system requirements are now out for the game.
Okay, right,
And this
hold
is
on.
the first.
Right, let's have a look. Recommended native 1080 60 FPS, high quality preset Intel i5, okay. 16 gig, okay. RTX 5060, it's a bit much for a GPU. My god, and that's for the recommended. 12 gig of RAM, okay. 60 gig SSD, okay. But then the minimum requirements, huh? Wait, what? Hold on, I'm confused. Right, so this, okay, checks out. This, okay, checks out. This, okay, checks out. This, okay, again, minimum recommended. That's great. This checks out. It's less than this. That's fine, I guess, for a minimum, right? 16 gig, okay, sure. i5, i7. Now, listen, I'm not the most greatest tech wizard in the world, and although I'm a PC user, I can't exactly sit here and pretend I know my way around the insides of a PC. That's why when I buy a gaming computer, I always buy it, you know, pre-made, because I don't know the first thing about making it and like all the finite details, right? But last time I checked, an i7 was more powerful than an i5. Unless this is the last generation of i7 and the new generation of i5 is better, I don't understand that one. But surely this would be i5 and this would be i7. No? Am I misunderstanding this? I feel like I'm misunderstanding this.
Chart I think we've ever seen that recommends you to have an RTX 5090. Granted, this is at native
$3,500 just for a damn GPU. That's insane.
4K with ultra settings, but still, it's like everywhere you freaking look, dude, there is no shortage of unoptimized games.
Yep.
And you could make the argument and defend these developers that make these things. PC as a gaming platform fundamentally does have some serious problems. It's not like consoles. Everyone isn't on the exact same hardware.
Yeah,
and they
that is
know
true.
Exactly what you have.
That is true.
Part of the beauty of PC gaming is that you can mix and match components. Maybe you're not going to get the most optimal performance possible, but you can combine things to get the best value for you.
Yeah.
And customize your experience. I mean, I started building PCs back in like 2016. My first computer was like $350, like
Nice.
mostly made of used components. That's the beauty of it. But that does cause a lot of problems for developers because they don't exactly know what to expect.
Yeah.
You got people handing over their entire bank account information straight to NVIDIA.
Look, it's $1,599. It is one of the best investments you could possibly make.
Are you sure about that? Because it's going to go extinct in a year. What do you mean?
And on the other side of the spectrum, you got people who can't even afford to upgrade their computers because the prices have sucked so much. And
Are you kidding me? 2 pieces of RAM, 64 gig of RAM for $885. That's insanely expensive. My God. You'd have to sell your kidneys on the black market just to afford a computer. This is insane.
advancements have been so small. But there is one company that seems to have gamers in mind.
Steam.
That's Valve. Lord Gaben himself.
Yeah,
has
Gabe.
descended from heaven from his yacht. Or what is he doing? But they really are looking at us in terms of performance. They've been cutting down on these things like DLSS, trying to replace real performance in our games. Last year, they released a FPS monitoring utility.
Ooh.
Where on the right side here, you see the original FPS in the game, and on the left side is the frame-generated FPS. So you can actually
Oh wait, that's what DLSS stands for. I told you, I don't know. I always try and play on the minimum settings and I don't play around with anything else because like I don't want to tempt my computer to blow itself up, right? So whenever I see DLSS, and I always just like, oh, okay, well, I'll turn that off. Now I know what it does. It's a frame booster. Okay, that's great. I finally understand. I don't know where the frame boosting words are in the DLSS. I don't know. Digital linear super speed. I don't know.
compare how many frames are being generated in the game, and it made it possible for me to prove that frame generation is hurting our latency and our performance more than we ever thought. Using this tool and being able to see what's actually going on in your games, that's cool. Valve also champions the Steam Hardware Survey. Generally speaking, the Steam Hardware Survey is a good way for developers to get a quick snapshot of what kind of systems people are running on and try to target that performance. Now, at the end of the day, that doesn't mean they're going to end up doing it. Right now, the most popular GPU in the world is the RTX 3060. Most graphics cards have 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Most people have 16 gigabytes of system memory. 6 CPU cores. They made a review program. Also allows players to figure out if it's even possible to run on their system. If we were to go something like Epic Games Store, Epic player ratings, people say it's 4.7, but are there written reviews for this? I don't freaking see that. And then they see these reviews from OpenCritic and stuff. Like, do you trust critics to review a piece?
Not at all. I don't. Listen, when it comes down to modern day wait, why is my model not working? My model's not working. God damn it. It's because of the light. Hold on. I need to turn off the light. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. But when it comes down to like critics, I don't trust modern day critics. Oh my God. Reviewers. Easier. I don't trust reviewers in the modern day anymore, right? Because there's always a bias. There's always like a penny under the table. Like, I don't trust sports people, critics. Bloody crickets, my God. I don't trust news critics. I don't trust game critics. Honestly, I only trust the common person. The common person who's in the same sphere as I, experiencing the same thing as I. That's the only person that I trust.
PC game. And they do have system requirements, which is pretty cool. I didn't even know they had this, to be honest. And that's something that Steam has also had for quite a while. It doesn't mean that these things are accurate. It's a lot like those system requirement charts that a lot of companies put out. And what's cool too is if a game does not run well on your system, you can get a Steam refund. And I love the language.
Yeah, I love the Steam refund. The only problem is that I could never remember if it's 2 hours or 12 hours. I remember I had a game, I'd forget what game it was, and it was okay. It was a good game. It was a well-made game, but it was not what I was hoping for at all. And because of that, I went to refund it, but I had played like 2 minutes over the time limit, which means I had to keep it. It was such a bummer.
That they have here is that you can request a refund for nearly any purchase on Steam for any reason. Maybe your PC doesn't meet the hardware requirements. Maybe you bought a game by mistake. Maybe you played the title for an hour and just didn't like it. It doesn't matter. Valve will, upon request, issue a refund for any reason. If the request is made within the required return period, and in case of the games, if the title hasn't been played for less than 2 hours.
Yeah, less than 2 hours, that's it.
And now even companies like Epic Games also have something similar to it. And if you compare it to other platforms like PlayStation and Nintendo, their refund policies aren't nearly as good.
Yep, we do not like Nintendo, we don't like PlayStation. The companies that once were the Holy Grail have lost all credibility and have shown their true corporate colors. We do not like these companies.
You can now attach hardware specs to Steam reviews. Let's pull up like Crimson Desert, for example. This person is actually playing on Linux with a Ryzen 5600X CPU with 32 gigabytes of RAM and a Radeon RX 7900 XTX graphics card. So this is a pretty high-end PC. This one right here is a relatively low-end system, and it seems like they're pretty positive about the game. But that is not where it stops with Valve. Valve wants to set the standard of what is acceptable performance in the game, so that developers or publishers can't get away with releasing shit, because you'll know the instant you see it on the Steam page. And they've already began this process on the Steam Deck. And you can see right here, I have Expedition 33, and you can see that there's a little like green check mark right next to it on my Steam Deck. It's saying Steam Deck compatibility verified. And you can go to details, and it says all functionality is accessible. Game shows Steam Deck controller icons. In-game text is legible on Steam Deck. So they verify that this actually works on the system, right? Like here I have Armored Core 6, and if we go down, it says game info, and there's actually a little yellow.
Let me guess, it's not fully optimized. Some of the in-game text is small and maybe difficult. Yeah.
All functionality, and it's actually very playable.
That's a nice thing as well, because you end up calling out the games that may not do well on the performance or may not give you what you need, and in turn it gives you a warning label so you're not wasting your money. That's good. I like that. That's a good touch.
Other than that, we'll have Horizon Forbidden West opened up.
Oh my god. I've never played the Horizon series, but 122 gig for a game is insane.
Here, and if I just scroll down, it says a little crossed out thing. Oh no, what's going on there? This
Okay.
game's graphics settings cannot be configured to run well on the Steam Deck, and I've tried this one myself. This game runs like shit on the Steam Deck.
Wow.
So this can really give you an idea of what games work and what games don't. And
Is that a feature that's only for Steam Deck? I don't know. I hope that it's if it is, I hope they bring it over to like normal Steam if that's the case.
we're going to expand this to the Steam machine as well.
Nice.
You can actually now, if you want to opt into it, you can track your average FPS on a certain game played. So this could give other players with Steam Decks an idea of how this actually runs. And I bet
that's
the
nice.
same thing is going to be available for like the Steam machine. But imagine if this same system could be expanded to all PCs.
Yes.
Because Valve can technically know what's running on your computer. They
Yes.
know your FPS data with their overlay. So if you want to opt into this, you could have it track FPS. Hey, check out this. Steam is building a game performance estimator for your PC. So before you even get the game, you
It
can
can guess.
estimate what kind of FPS you could be looking
That's
at.
a nice
and see if
feature.
it'd be a good experience for you or not. And it'll be based off of what other PCs are running that game at, based on the specs that those PCs have. This is just such a good idea that holds developers accountable
Yeah.
for making games run well on the average computer. It's
And then it works out in their favor. It works out in everyone's favor as well, because players will end up getting players will end up getting games that work well for them and are better optimized for the wider audience. And then the devs that get their games bought more often because of that get praised. And then other game devs will be like, oh my god, we can do this and make money. I mean, who would have thought the obvious logical choice would be the one to go for, but apparently not. So hopefully this works. Hopefully this is a journey that ventures well into the near future.
provable. And to me, a tool like this, funnily enough, sounds really similar to a tool on Mac. It's an
Ooh.
FPS analyzer, and basically you can have it log your FPS, and it'll basically go back through and you can look at what it logged over your play sessions, and you can have it
That's
do it
pretty cool.
automatically and stuff as well. It's also similar to like AMD's Adrenalin software, the built-in drivers for AMD GPUs. After you play a game, it gives your average performance in it. Technically, AMD could use that data as well if you wanted to report that. This is just so freaking sick. It helps people figure out how their systems are going to run, and also keeps developers accountable. And this just makes it such a better experience for consumers and everything.
It makes it way more streamlined as well, because instead of having to work out what runs well, what doesn't work well, it says I meet the minimum requirements, but when I meet the minimum requirements, it's still so badly optimized, it blows my computer up. Having things marked clearly as this will work for you, this won't work for you, there will be some issues, and then just general information like that, it will make everything so much more streamlined and simple.
Which is kind of curious, because that's Valve's whole mission, basically. I mean, they have an effective monopoly on PC gaming, but it's because they just provide the best service. They're just winning by
doing nothing. Yeah.
This strategy as well, at least in my opinion, is really interesting, because it's similar to like Amazon. Say for example with like customer reviews on Amazon. At the end of the day, Amazon wants to cut down on people having returns for products, obviously because that's expensive for them to handle, and they want people to have a good experience. Amazon has invested into reviews. They encourage people to leave reviews on products that they've had. I think this is a really good system at the end of the day.
Yep.
It is the best way to get an idea of what you're getting with an online shopping system. Valve wants to do a very similar system to that. Basically warning you before you purchase a game if it's going to be good for you. But this is a case of where the incentives of the company and the people using the service actually align. They're encouraged to make a good service with Steam, and that is.
And I think it kind of helps as well that the person at the top, i.e. Gabe, is part of the community. Like, look, I bet brother only invented the Steam Deck because he was like, I'm on my yacht in the middle of the ocean, and I don't have a good connection for my computer when I'm using Starlink. I wish Nintendo made games that were not only Nintendo games at a decent quality. Oh wait, I'm Gabe Newell. Screw it. I'm just gonna make my own handheld that gives me access to my PC games. Bruh, I love Gabe. Gabe's a legend.
Is why they are winning. Valve's goal is, in a complex environment like PC gaming where it's very unpredictable in a lot of ways, they want to have a smooth experience for gamers and everything, and at the same time they want to cut down on returns and stuff. Now I do quickly want to go into how it works. Obviously it's using the in-game FPS tracker that Steam does provide. Valve, the people that work there are pretty smart, I would think. I would have some concerns basically on how it works, because if it's just tracking your FPS data from the moment you load the game, it wouldn't be very accurate, because you would be picking up things like menus and stuff in the game.
Yeah.
Maybe your FPS ends up going through the moon because a menu doesn't really use that many resources. So I do wonder if Valve will be cutting off the extremes of the top end and the low end and just trying
meeting
to give
in the
you
middle,
a good
yeah.
average metric in between it. And probably they won't start tracking the performance until a few
I never played Claire Obscure, but what the hell is that enemy? Oh my god. That's terrifying. What kind of enemy is that?
minutes into playing the game, so they don't just have you sitting on the title screen, you know? That's one of my concerns, but it's also my assumption that they've probably thought about this. But I do have a little bit more concerns, is like this FPS tracking data, how would it know what settings you're running the game on? Valve doesn't really have access to that data, I don't think. So what if you changed your settings throughout the game and all of a sudden your FPS changes quite a bit? I guess at the end of the day, this is going to be a really broad average of a ton of people
that's so
trying this on their
chunky.
systems. So maybe at the end of the day, it's accurate just by the law of huge averages. Like not everybody's tinkering with settings, and maybe it's just the moment you load the game for the first time, how does it perform without tinkering with settings in the game?
Yes.
While I do think this is a pretty amazing thing that keeps people accountable, it's a really good thing to have, I think, overall. It does come with one potential downside.
Okay,
on
what's
one
that?
side, it's great because developers need to optimize games for the hardware, and you can obviously see if it's performing well on the average hardware, you know what I mean? But on the other side of the spectrum, could cause developers to endlessly just be optimizing things for the same hardware, and the chip market sucks and everything. Buying PC hardware sucks, consoles as well, to be honest. They might just keep making games for the same.
Yeah, like he's right. Yeah, hardware might be frozen in time. It's like it's how can I say? It would kill innovation. Is that the right word that I want to say? It would kill innovation. Like, in a sense, like, it's good because things would be optimized for everyone, but I feel yes, it would kill innovation in the sense of everything would be stuck in this moment of time. We're not moving forward. Everyone's making things for the same specs, right? Kind of like how things were when we got to PS4, because there's not really been much of an improvement between like the PS4, PS Pro, and I don't know, I've never touched a PlayStation 5, so I don't know. But the innovation really wasn't that much of a thing. And I feel like, yes, that's true. But what can also be true at the same time is that it wouldn't necessarily be frozen in time because it depends on the pricing of the market. Now, remember, the reason we're having to overly optimize, again, optimizing is good, that should be priority, but over-optimizing and overly doubling down on it to keep everything at the same average specs would not have happened if the prices for computer parts, consoles, PCs, everything was not through the roof. Now, if the prices were to come down and better equipment would be more accessible, then that could revive the development and people could optimize it maybe a little less and push the bounds a little bit. You know, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. It could just be my brainless ramblings.
Systems because of how much pushback it ended up getting.
Yeah.
I mean, let me know your thoughts on that part. I do think this idea is supported by the fact the Steam machine is not really that powerful, and they're just
That's
launching
surprising.
that now. So they also want to maintain compatibility for that console. I still think it'd be way better to have it than not to have it. And the fact that it could even be a performance estimator means maybe your hardware doesn't even have to match, but if it could estimate the performance of that GPU or of that CPU, then maybe you get an idea of how it could perform on your system. One last thing about Valve here and Steam is they're going to be adding a built-in price tracker. This seems completely counterintuitive to their business model. You know, they would want people not buying games on sale, but maybe they've run the averages and maybe they make more money when people just buy a bunch of games on sale or something. They're going to track prices for games and it'll be...
There's, what was this? This is great having it built into Steam, but just in case you guys want access to this and you don't want to have to go to Steam, go to a website called Is There Any Deal? I think it's .com, and it will bring up every single, like, website where you can buy games. It could be like a discount key reseller, it could be Steam, it could be Origin, it could be Ubisoft, EA Launcher, Epic, all these places. It brings them all up and it will show you the record lowest price, the current average price, and then it will show you where people are, like, all these places are selling the game that you're looking for a decent price, and it will compare the prices. So Is There Any Deal? I think .com. Give it a check. It's kind of this, but it's decent.
Built into the Steam client. You don't need to be using an external service and able to do this.
It would make it more accessible.
W for Valve. But overall, I mean, this is a great feature.
Yes.
I want it in Steam. It just makes it more and more clear. They're setting a standard. And everybody else in this industry wants to avoid the truth. They want to pump out unoptimized slop games. Just expect us to eat it. While at the same time, like, hardware prices are going through the moon. To me, it's very almost like disrespectful to your own players if you can't make a game run well for them. Why wouldn't you want your game to reach as many people as possible? That's gonna be it for me. Let me know what you guys think about this whole Steam FPS counter estimator thing that might be coming out here. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Hopefully y'all have a good one,
and that's it. That's that video. So thank you very much, Vex, for the video. Again, link to it will be in the description down below. It was definitely a fun conversation to have and a great video to watch, because it just points out that people are finally waking up and the pressure is finally mounting. Steam is listening and Steam is pushing, and this is good. I'm hoping that we can go back to the golden era of games like we did in the PS2 generation, of where every game was made, it was not ridiculously oversized. You know, if you needed an extra disc, you had an extra disc. And everything ran smoothly. Like, the only problems that were in the games is either it was a terrible game or it was difficult. Other than that, the games were fun, they were enjoyable, they were good experiences, the game ran smoothly, it didn't make your system explode from running too much, you know? Great time to be alive. Thank you very much to Vex for the video. Again, link to the descriptions down below. I'm going to move on to the next video now, so thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to, of course, click the like button and or subscribe, and of course, hype the video, spread the love, spread the joy. But until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me, so thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ta-da!